So the four cornerstones, Patricia, that we have found to be the strength with which long-term recovery happens. We've seen it, we've watched it, we've witnessed it, and we've felt it in ourselves. Those four cornerstones, noticing, which is pausing, which is something we're not able to do when we're triggered. So we need to learn how to pause. It's not something that happens overnight. We need to learn how to do that and in a way that's compassionate and filled with grace.
And here's why this is important, because our mind, and this takes some time to distinguish what our mind is saying from what our center is saying. So the noticing helps distinguish, oh, look what I'm saying to myself. I'm noticing, look what I'm saying to myself. And as soon as you notice, which takes practice, to notice it rather than being in it, you're in your center. And what does that mean? Learning to feel what that means. And that takes practice. And that's what we practice with. We practice with that. Notice what I'm saying, what I'm feeling, what's going on inside of me, as opposed to being inside of me, yapping away critically at myself.
Mhm.
Previously, we did that because we thought it was something that would shape us up.
It was required. It's how we grew up. We have to work hard. We have to find ourselves whenever we're being wrong or bad. We have to correct that. We're so clear with food. It's so clear when we're eating something we should or when we're eating something we shouldn't. That can't be more clear. And yet we sit and watch ourselves do this thing. And once we have the awareness of what we're doing, because we do, once we're on a program where we can see it, we're seeing what we should and shouldn't be doing. That's when we get the aha. Okay, now what? All right, I'm noticing. Providing resonance is the second cornerstone. Resonance is a very specific area that most of our polite society doesn't understand.
We're so trained. I want to help you. Did you try this? Why don't you try that? Why don't you? This is what I did. I have somebody that would work well for you when somebody's not asking for advice. They just need to be able to state what's going on for them.
We may not even understand it. We are so new at the feelings business. We may not even understand why we're triggered. But
Yeah.
when people give us advice, we automatically hear we're in a bad place and we need to be fixed. I must be wrong. I must be doing something really awful for people to be moving
Yeah.
me out of this place.
What does resonance sound as opposed to advice? Why don't you try this? Or come on, you're better than that. You know better than that. I know you could do better than that. What does resonance sound like?
Resonance is the moment that we're sitting with someone. We don't even have to say anything and we don't even have to be right, but we want to sit with them and ask them how they are. Is this how you're feeling? Of course, you're feeling this way. Resonance is attunement, companionship, accompaniment, rather than aiding someone in getting out of their space, which is what we want to do because we don't want to be there with them. We don't like that feeling. We're afraid ourselves of feeling despondent about our program. One of the things that I find so interesting about resonance is we hear people saying, I need to find people that are above me in their program so that they can pull me up. Guess what? That pulling up is actually us needing to grow. And when we can sit in our own confidence and our own comfort and sit with someone else in their dismay or their angst or their grief, that's allowing them to be where they are and us to know I'm confident that I'm going to be fine. That idea that someone is going to pull me down, that's an aspect of weakness that is actually not true. Someone is pulling us down because we're letting them pull us down.
Resonance is being listened to, hearing. I want to be heard. I have this, I'm noticing something, which is an advancement for me to be talking about what I'm noticing. And I just need to say it and know I'm being heard. I don't, at this point, giving me advice just makes me feel uncomfortable because I feel like I didn't do it right. I don't need any more outside. I don't need any more from the outside telling me I'm not doing it right. I do that so myself. I need to be heard, or that's what I am longing for, to be heard. Just let me say it. I'm noticing Okay, I noticed that I noticed something. You're saying it's important to notice and talk about it. I'm talking about it. Here comes the next piece. I need to be heard, not advised. Unless I asked, I need your advice. But if I'm just spilling out something I'm noticing, that's such a brave step. That's such a growing edge for me to do that. I long to be listened to and heard.
A couple of examples. These two really stand out for me. And let's see if you, the listener, can imagine yourself in this situation and how you would feel. Imagine you having a struggle about anything. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be grief, it could be sadness, it could be anger, frustration. This one is, I'm so stressed over the pileup of bills. I'm feeling really overwhelmed. Now, what you've done when you share that is you've been vulnerable and you've shared where you are in this moment. And then you hear advice, which is generally what our current society gives. So here's an advice giving. Think about how you're feeling about feeling overwhelmed. Have you made a budget and prioritized which bills to pay first? That would make it less stressful. I have a great accountant we can call. What you get when you hear that, first of all, it may be great advice. It may be great advice. But the fact is, you're being pulled out of where you are right now. You're being told that you're not in a good place. You're being told that you need to move out of that other place by someone that you love. And that someone doesn't feel comfortable with hearing about the pileup of bills.
Yeah, and not only that, I am getting my shame out of me. I'm like real, this is hard. I am obsessing about this. I'm churning about this. I'm noticing this is in me. I'm getting stuck going round and round and round about it. I'm going to trust the growing edge to talk about it. And I'm going to say, this is what's going on for me. I'm really spinning about about this financial situation I'm in. That's the big step. I just need you to hear me and be with me and support me with my feeling that I'm having. I don't need it to be rectified. The rectify is coming from me talking about it, not from you saying anything to me to fix it.
Exactly. Resonance is the step before the advice because we need to acknowledge to that person that they're in this pickle and it's okay to be in this pickle in the moment. And we want to be with them in this pickle. We don't want to move them out of it because they've just exposed something very vulnerable to us. We want to allow them to feel better. Just imagine, all right, let's say this struggle again. I'm so stressed over the pileup of bills. I'm really overwhelmed. Of course you feel scared. Who wouldn't? Does it feel like there's no end in sight? Any one of these statements will work. And also just sitting with someone and holding their hand, like
And
you'll never get out from under the pile, like you can't breathe, like you're all alone. Any one of these statements is a resonant statement that is allowing someone to be reactive, allowing you to be reactive, and allowing them to take a deep breath. Because honestly, when you feel that, when you get that resonance, it dissipates the stress that you're feeling and it removes the alarmed aloneness in that moment.
the bigger picture is that I had the courage to talk about something that's spinning inside of me. And that spinning inside of me, feeling, is what in the past I would have gone to food to push down. So the bigger picture here is when we can get to the point of noticing there's something big going on here, I need to release it, not otherwise, danger, Will Robinson. I'm going to eat over it to shut it up. If I can say it, I can notice it and say it, and somebody just hears me, I can it's like taking helium out of a balloon. It allows space to come inside of me if I'm talking about it, and it brings me back to my center, gets me off of the obsession in the past I've gone to food for.
Another one that I like is this one. Here's your struggle. The doctor has me going for all these medical tests. I'm really worried. I hate waiting and I'm looking too much for answers on Dr. Google. We all understand that one. The advice is there's no point in worrying about it until you actually get the test results back. Try to stay positive. It's no good getting stressed. That just makes it worse. I've got a great doctor. I'll get you their number. That shuts us down. We all understand that. It's the intentions are great, but giving advice before, I'm not saying advice doesn't help. It is important to remind people not to be stressed because stress doesn't help. But the way that we release the stress for ourselves and for others is with resonance. So let's look at this question again. The doctor has me going for all these medical tests. I'm really worried. I hate waiting and I'm looking too much for answers on Dr. Google. Do you find yourself holding your breath? Are you checking for every hiccup and ache and pain and climbing out of your skin waiting? That's a simple situation. It may be true, it may not be true. It sounds like it's probably accurate. What we're doing is establishing a rhythm with them to be able to help them resonate and know that they're not alone. And that's the point of resonance, so that they feel accompanied. Doesn't mean that you can't offer advice. Go with them to the doctor and talk over potential opportunities and other situations. It doesn't mean advice is bad. It just needs to be after you've accompanied them for a moment. You don't have to be right.
The bigger picture is that the importance of getting out that angst from me is the important thing. And for me to feel unencumbered in allowing myself to get it out, I don't have to reach for something to numb myself. It escapes, it leaves me. It can leave me. It does a great deal to leave me when I can be honest about myself, open about myself, and not ashamed about myself. Because that's what's going on right now is my feeling ashamed. So I need to talk about what I'm noticing. This is really bothering me, and having a place to just get it out. Just get it out. Then I can return to my center, or I'm closer to returning to my center from letting it out. Just listening. Oh yeah, that's hard. Oh yeah. Oh, that's really tough.
It
That's
is.
a place to be. Just listening. And it's so hard. And that fixing from another side, from the other side of that wonderful wanting somebody to not feel that way. It's really all about you being uncomfortable.
Right.
You have to learn how to be comfortable with people's discomfort.
Well, and we're afraid we're going to catch it. We don't want to feel that way. And yet that's a part of living. And we actually can feel the resonance and the accompaniment when we accompany someone else. There's a benefit to this that we don't even realize because we push it away so quickly. That's two of the four cornerstones. The
Yeah,
third
no,
cornerstone is community and connection. And for me, there's a neurological and a scientific reason why community and connection, trusted community and connection. Getting to trusted is interesting, right? But trusted community and connection where we do feel safe enough to share these things. And one of the reasons that trusted community is so helpful and so important is that we do feel safe in those places to be vulnerable. And that's where we can let out the steam in the helium balloon. I'm mixing my metaphors, but that's where we can let out the steam that we need to release it in order for us to heal. So trusted community and trusted connection. It's interesting for me. I love the awareness around connection does not have to be a lot of people. It can be connection to something you're passionate about that you're pulling back into, something creative, something artistic, writing or knitting or crocheting or painting. Or playing, anything that's playful in its creativity. That's a connection where we can recognize and be in gratitude and feel the beauty and the support of it. Trusted connection can be incredibly supportive in our healing journey. Can you talk for a minute about the spiritual aspects of community?
it's all about, well, first of all, what I'm talking about, let me define spiritual for what I'm talking about. I'm talking about who am I when I'm at my center, that I can pull from and get the support I need from inside me. Who am I in there? So, from a spiritual point of view, community and connection allows me to be a part of where I'm more and more moving to my center. It's a feeling of not aloneness. When we're feeling alone, we're critical of ourselves. because we're not doing something right, or I'm doing this wrong thing again, or whatever critically we're saying to ourselves. Hooking up to community is like the third leg of that tripod, that where I can say, I'm noticing this. We can get resonance back by just being listened to. And it's in communities. It verifies we're okay. We're okay. It's just where we are. It's just where we are. We're okay. Because left alone with my mind thinking, I'm just going to say, what's wrong with me? And I've been trained to work on what's wrong with me. This is a kind of a reversal, noticing, talking about it, getting resonance, like just allowing myself to be where I am in this community. It can connect me again to my center, and I can start saying compassionate things to myself instead of critical things to myself. It moves me into, oh, okay, I've been here before. I'm just here again. This is just where I am. You're talking from your center instead of talking from your critical mind, because you're not your mind. You're the one listening to your mind. This is true. I am that, but I do that. I am that way. It takes a long kind of training. And these are the cornerstones we're talking about that aid and assist the training so that more and more we're coming from our center. And that center is what I'm talking about as connecting spiritually to who we are.
Many of us play perfectionist on TV. We pretend, right? We pretend that we have it all together. We show up thinking that's the image that we need to project. I think of it like putting makeup on pimples. Okay. And what we're basically talking about is allowing the makeup to be removed in those moments. Think about the relief associated with recognizing, wow, there's other pimples in this room and everyone's okay with that. We each have issues that we're working on, we're working through. We're not supposed to be perfect. As a matter of fact, there are aspects of my personality and your personality that probably wouldn't be great for some people. They might not like that kind of thing about us. But that's okay. We are all each different. We are all each on our own path. I might say something that might trigger someone else, not intentionally, but the fact is, when we're in trusted community, we know that the core beliefs coming into this space are for connection, for resonance, and for noticing and awareness, and practicing all of these things toward a healing, higher level spiritual goal. So when we can walk into a community and know and recognize, oh, wow, this person really connect. I really like how they are connecting. I'm connecting with the energy of it. That's what trusted community is for me. Recognizing the joy of watching the differences, feeling the awareness of that.
But so many of us are afraid to go in because we're afraid of what's in there. And these cornerstones are the unveiling slowly in trusted community. That's why it's so helpful to have trusted community, because they can hold us as we come through this, being willing to open up more and more in order to find out who we are. So we're afraid to find out who we are. We cover it up. Of course, we go to the food because we keep working at covering things up that we're really feeling. We have to go to something that makes us feel better. Understanding that what makes us feel better is having safety to be able to expel what the real things are that's going on. We do it by just talking about what we're noticing that's making me crazy or making me feel terrible about myself, or what I'm saying that's nasty to myself, being listened to and not being fixed in a community that really supports, that we feel supported. It dissipates and allows us to connect to who we really are. It's a catch-22. We're afraid if we open up, we're going to find out the critical things we've been saying to ourselves all along is going to get worse. That's not the truth. We find out that slowly, by practicing this, we expel it. We get it. These days, I'm hooked. I'm talking about what's bothering me because I know I want to get it out of me. I don't want to keep it in and not show anyone I've got this issue because I'm going to take my mask off a little by expelling it. The trusted community is only trusted because I know you're not going to give me advice. You're going to let me just say it. And that connects me and it keeps me from having to take an outside thing and shut it down, like food. Shut it down. Let me get comatose for a while because I can't take this anymore. We're expelling it. That's it in a nutshell. We need to learn to expel it. And how can I do that safely? And that's what we're working on. That's what we've seen. We've been working together in a community all together, the whole community working together to allow people to talk about what's going on. And that's sometimes we're just chatting and just talking about our day. Lots of times we are, but sometimes I just have to say, I'm really disturbed with what I'm saying to myself, and I need to say it out loud to expel it. And then I'm listened to. I'm not shamed because I had that feeling and I shouldn't feel that way. No, you shouldn't feel that. I don't have that. And then I can connect up to who I am. And that takes practice. It takes a lot of practice. It doesn't happen once. As a matter of fact, it's not like I'm going to be fixed and never have things come up again. No.
I really like this. This is the three. Let's talk about practice.
Yeah.
Practice is the fourth cornerstone. And frankly, I know it's required in order for us to establish new neural pathways. We all know what it's like to take a course on how to work with spreadsheets. If you don't start working with those spreadsheets, you lose it. And there are glial cells in our brain that sweep away things we're not using. And that's what happens often with many of these self-help courses. This course is designed to move you and to help you develop new practices that are going to aid in your healing, literally shifting your neural pathways. That's what this course is designed for, action items. It does require participation, not necessarily attending the actual lectures, but participating in the community and participating in your day-to-day and applying the tools in one form or another. We're slowly leaking it out to help you establish the strong foundation and moving forward through this. The practices are vital and they don't need to necessarily be ingrained in you, but we have tools to help you with the tools to help you move through to a place of healing.
Yeah,
That's
well,
what
our
this
intention
is.
is to have you be there for yourself so that you will be there for yourself. You're more connected to who you are, to what's in there, as opposed to the critic. If you're in your critical mind, you're not connected to who you are in the center. Who you are in
Right.
the center talks differently, says different things. Oh, honey, we've been here before. We'll get through this again. Doesn't say, oh my God, here you go. And the intention of the course is to work together as a community so we can be there for ourselves. So we can be there for ourselves. And we're just taking another cut. We've been here before. We've taken the courses. We will continue being in courses. I hope you'll continue being in courses because you're only growing if you're in the right courses and you're taking another cut and a chipping away at who am I in there. I want that out more. I want more visibility of that center, who I am.
I'd love for everyone to join us. And I'll put the link down in the show notes. And Patricia, you and I love working with you.
Thank you. And if you feel it's your time, if you feel attracted to it, listen to your inner self because it comes through you, it comes from you. It's not a should. I should do that. They're saying this and I should do that. No. If you feel like you're attracted to this, that's who I'm interested in working with, people who are attracted to it. Because Sonia, you and I aren't going to teach anybody anything. It's going to come through them. Something
Exactly.
that makes sense for them will come through them. And that's where real knowledge comes because for themselves, because yeah, that's true. I know that. I know that.
Thank you.